Dolce & Gabbana, the One Grey, a new fragrance for men.
Story this hour, however, we look to Venezuela, which announced this week it will drop the U.S. dollar in trade transactions. Venezuela's industry minister, Turek Al-Assami, made the announcement Tuesday, saying the country will no longer submit to any monetary domination as U.S. intervention.
All transactions in the domestic exchange market will be referenced using the euro and other convertible currencies. We return to the scheme of the euro. The best help they can give the people of Venezuela is that imperialism pulls its murderers and criminal claws out of the country and let us be free. We will not be anyone's colony again.
With Venezuela and the dollar in question, we turn to former UK Member of Parliament George Galloway to discuss. George, what do you think is driving this? First of all, do you get a sense that in Europe and the UK as well, there's a sense of frustration about being tied to the US dollar?
Well, there's nothing so powerful as the power of an idea whose time has come. And the idea of breaking free of the hegemony of the US dollar is now everywhere, even in the most unlikely places. We've discussed before the foreign minister of Germany, once upon a time a client state of the United States, which is now openly searching for an alternative to dollarization in international trade. And this has spread, of course, farther and farther as the number of countries under sanctions and aggression of one kind or another at the hands of the US has literally multiplied. If you think about it, countries that are either sanctioned or threatened with sanction, why would they take the risk of continuing to rely on the US dollar, which is being used in such a politicized way? So Iran is under sanctions. Why would it trade in dollars, therefore? Why would Russia and China trade with each other or elsewhere in dollars when they are the subject of trade war and sanctions from the United States? And Venezuela is the latest to conclude that such is the level of aggression coming out of Washington, such is the obvious regime change appetite in Washington, that they might as well bite the bullet and buck the dollar.
Considering how the U.S. reacted, though, to, for example, Saddam Hussein when he adopted the euro over the dollar several decades ago, what is Venezuela risking with this decision?
Well, of course, there's a big risk in it, but the level of enmity coming from Washington towards Venezuela has now reached the point of no return. So I think the conclusion is we'd be better hung for a sheep than a lamb, as we say here. The people in Venezuela know that they are on the end of yet another US regime change operation. So they might as well stand up, do the principled thing, and like the Iraqi leaders and the Libyan, by the way, which also sought to break away from the dollar, they risk, of course, being overthrown. But it's not as if that risk disappears if they don't take this step. I was actually in Baghdad. I was talking with members of the former leadership of Iraq when this move was being discussed. I did point out to them at the time that the US would regard it as a red line. But times have changed, and the number of US opponents stroke enemies has multiplied in that time. For a start, Russia, at the time that Iraq was under attack from the US, was more or less in an interregnum. Russia is now in the Axis full time, and so the number of countries and the importance of the countries in the crosshairs of United States hegemony has multiplied, and that paradoxically, or if you like, in a contradictory way, has strengthened the hands of those who are on the end of American aggression. There's more of them. They're more important than they were before.
Shalom, Israel. This is Levi back with another another class on what's going on, and as you can see that they gave Venezuela just gave the dollar up. It's not using the dollar no more. They quit the dollar. So this is just the beginning of the end. You know, we all know, like they said, what happened to Saddam Hussein, what happened to Gaddafi. War. War is coming. War is coming, and America is going to feel that pain. Look, Russia and China, all of them is up, standing up now. War is coming, man, and I just want to get this precept. You know, it says Revelation 18 and 10, standing afar off the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and nardine, the iron wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of precious wood, and all brass and iron and marble, and cinnamon and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more. The merchants of these things which made her rich shall stand afar for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all thy company and ships and sailors as thy men trade by sea, and stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust over their head and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and the apostles and prophets, for God have avenged you on her. So that's what we're waiting for, man. We're waiting for that rejoice, man, for that fall of America, for all what they did to the children of Israel and continue to do to us every day, this hell that we in. Just want to say all praise to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shah. Shalom.